Hey guys, welcome. Welcome aboard if you're brand new. Welcome back if you are not. And welcome home if that sits well for you. This week we are going to talk about the astrology and energy for the week of the 13th of November through the 19th of November 2023. And we start off this week with a big, giant aspect, the very first aspect, of course, in this week. On Monday morning, the 13th, we have the Scorpio new moon at 3:27 Central Time, and that's at 20 degrees Scorpio. We have the moon opposing Uranus and conjunct Mars very briefly after that. And remember, we just had the Mars-Uranus opposition last week, so important to note. And then the moon goes on to trine Neptune. The sun will oppose Uranus fully a little bit later in the morning. And that Scorpio moon is going to sextile Pluto, of course, adding a nice depth charge to everything. And then the moon will move into Sagittarius later in the evening and then square Saturn. So this new moon is, like I said, really activating that that Mars-Uranus opposition that we had just a couple days before this. So because the moon makes those really tight aspects to both Uranus and Mars at the time of this new moon, we need to pay attention, right? This is a time of radical change, right? Pulling in that trine to Neptune, you absolutely have an amazing opportunity for some really startlingly clear purpose behind your urge to change, right? And so we talk about new moons as those times of inception. Well, guess what? This can be a brand new beginning. This can be your inception point to, let's call it a more deeply purposed life, right? That's going to invite you toward union with your path, with your purpose. So be ready to put your changes into action. Always making sure that they're resonating deeply within your heart. On Tuesday, the 14th, the Sag moon is going to conjunct Mercury and then sextile Venus and quincunx Jupiter later on in the afternoon. So on Tuesday, tell your story, right? And tell it in a way that feels the very most supportive and the very safest, right? But the thing is, you're being invited to add your unique voice and your perspective to the wider picture, right? So you're being asked to be that drop in the ocean strongly. And the thing is, trust that you're going to be supported and that your expression really matters. Even if you don't know how it's going to matter, and even if you don't have an idea of to whom it may matter besides you, that's part of trusting that process, right? So if you're going to tell your story in the strongest way possible, just trust that it's going to land. Don't try to manage it, right? Just pay attention and be willing to be in your expression. On Wednesday, the 15th, that Sag moon is going to trine Chiron. Mercury in Sagittarius is going to sextile Venus, and then the moon will quincunx Uranus, square Neptune, and then Mercury will quincunx Jupiter. So Wednesday is a day to kind of reorient your expressions, right? Be certain that the tales that you're telling are current, right? We're not pulling in any old stories. We're not looking for any kind of like slippage back into something old or degeneration into any kind of defeatist language, right? Nothing self-doubting, no rabbit holes of past perceptions. So those are illusions. But they will absolutely magnify and amplify things that you may not wish, that you feel like you've already healed from, that you've already managed in a specific way. So just really mind what you're telling. Mind the story, because it's going to bring those things into your field. Make sure that you're attracting what you desire, not what you don't, or what you've healed from, or what you're not interested in anymore. So on Thursday the 10th, early in the morning, the moon moves into Capricorn, and very shortly after, Venus in Libra will quincunx Jupiter. Then that cat moon is going to sextile Saturn, trine Jupiter, and square Venus. So listen up. Thursday, the 16th, it's a head down kind of day. All right, so you might feel like not a whole lot of stuff is in the groove or on track. And here's the deal. If that happens, and the bottom line is it might apply more widely than not. Just dig into your own to-do list, right? Your own get shit done list. And don't be afraid to cloister yourself. Tackle some projects that you've been avoiding. And don't be afraid to close your door while you do that, right? Put your busy sign up and just focus on what you need to do and trust your process, right? Trust your cloister big time. On Friday the 17th, Mars in Scorpio is going to trine Neptune overnight. And then that cat moon is going to square Chiron. The Scorpio sun will trine Neptune. Woo, hello, everybody's jumping. And then the cat moon is going to trine Uranus, sextile Neptune, the sun, and Mars. Wow, thank you. And the sun will conjunct Mars just before midnight. Today is the day to dream and to do, right? We have all these sun, moon, Mars aspects to Neptune and one another, right? Your clarity is going to be nearly blinding on Friday when it comes to the blending of your head and heart, your thoughts, your actions. You will have kind of an innate sense of your action steps. Now, here's the key. Write them down. No, really, I actually mean it. Get a piece of paper and take notes on your whole day on Friday. However you do that, whatever it means for you, because it's going to be important. That clarity might not last, but those notes absolutely will. So write it down on Friday. Write it down. On Saturday the 18th, that cat moon is going to conjunct Pluto before moving into Aquarius. And then that Aquarius moon is going to square Jupiter. So put your money where your mouth is on Saturday. Or perhaps like put your energy where your intention is, right? Start stacking your dedication up. Stack it up to create your consequences, right? Remember, if your double strength, okay. If your consequences are this sense of devotion and dedication, you can stack it up. The thing is, build deeply and create reality, right? You've got this. The key word is your devotion. What is in your heart, right? Devotion, what we love, what we're devoted to. So make sure that you're paying attention as you create those steps, that you're going to create what you want, right? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to build it high if you know that the roots are deep. On Sunday, the 19th, that Aquarius moon is going to trine Venus, sextile Mercury and Chiron, and then square Uranus. So here's the deal. Stay alert to any kind of conflict of interest on Sunday. Mind your goals, mind your choices and your desires. And remember that you're creating from your chosen sense of what home is. And what we know is that when we talk about home, right, we're talking about, okay, we see. We're talking about, ooh, exciting. When we're talking about home, we're talking about what we witness as home, right? What it smells like, what it looks like, what it tastes like, what it feels like, what it sounds like to us, right? Always self-reflexive, always simply that place of ours, right? It's your best place, no one else's. No one can tell you what it is. You can only experience it and claim it as your preference for yourself. And it doesn't have anything to do with anyone else, only yourself. So don't give in to anyone else's versions of your need or your story or your expression, right? Plant your why as your experience of home and make sure that it is only yours. No one can tell you what it is, only you, right? So that's Sunday. All right, let's look a little deeper. So on Monday, right, we've got that beautiful new moon. So we've got the High Priestess and the Nine of Wands here. So we talk about this as a day of radical change, a day of brand new beginning and inception points, right? Always making sure that we're becoming more deeply purposed. We know this because of our intention, of our connection to what is divine, not only for us, but as us, right? And so then we have the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands, this is that place where we are defending, but we understand our priorities, right? And we're willing to dedicate ourselves to what is the critical, like, mission standard, let's call it that way. And so once you understand, right, your why, you understand how and why it's important, why it's your priority. So if you're really going to delve into these clear opportunities to really define and discern your purpose, and you absolutely have that, right? All you have to do is ask and listen. And you also have the capacity to defend it, right, for as long as it takes, even if it means reminding yourself over and over and over again. You can do it. So just make sure that your purpose is clear, right? On Tuesday the 14th, we've got the Five of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. So the Five of Cups asks you, where are you focusing your energy, attention, and awareness, right? And the Six of Pentacles says you have plenty, right? You are plenty. You're fully resourced. So the Five of Cups is always looking backward, is always regretful or feeling like there's been a loss that you just can't come back from. And here's the deal. That's okay. If you have something you have to sit in, you have to sit in it until you're ready to move forward. But the Six of Pentacles reminds you, you always have the opportunity. The second you decide, yeah, I'm ready to move forward, all you have to do is put out your hand and trust that it will be filled with something brand new. And then you can in turn give that away, right? This is about generosity and reciprocity. So we talked about this as the day to tell your story in the most safe and the most supportive way. And understand that you'll be supported, but that you don't have to manage where that story goes, right? It doesn't matter where your focus is. It doesn't matter where you give it to. Just trust that it's part of your healing process, right? You don't have to manage it or curate the width or the depth of the sharing. You only have to do the sharing and trust that that's the exact right thing. On Wednesday, the 15th, we've got Strength and the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is about walking away from something that's not satisfying or contenting, that's not bringing you happiness or joy. It takes a lot of strength to do that, right? So we talk about this as a day to reorient your expressions, right? And be sure that you're staying in your current story. Remembering that we're talking about the Five of Cups back here and the Eight of Cups. See how she's walking away? She's walking away from that thing that's not doing it anymore. And so we want to talk about being alert on Wednesday for any kind of defeatist language, anything that's going to pull you backward into that old story, and then always being strong enough, right, to come back to your whole story, not just that part. And remember that what you're going to tell is what you're going to amplify and magnetize to yourself. So make sure that you're telling the new story, not the old story, because otherwise you will be drawn backward. So make sure that you're staying in your current timeline, your current narrative, right? Nothing old. On Thursday, the 16th, we've got the 5 of Swords, which is about conflict, and the 8 of Pentacles, which is, again, a card of devotion and dedication, right? This is how you show up, how you commit to practice, how you commit to skill and mastery over time. The 5 of Swords is conflict, but let's remember that swords are ideas, right? So this is having an idea that is in conflict. So perhaps this is about, remember we talked about this as being that head down kind of day, right? You might feel like you're not in the groove. You might feel like you're off track. So just dig into your to-do list. Dig into your getting shit done. Dig into your projects, and don't be afraid to turn your back on what's not going to be supportive of that. Don't be afraid to shut your door and just focus on what you need to accomplish, as opposed to that overthinking brain, right? The key to these kind of rampant thoughts is to do something, right? Something, whatever it is. Get your mind out of your head and into your physical realm. So choose dedication and choose devotion. On Friday, the 17th, we've got the Knight of Wands, and again, we have strength, right? So wands are about our passions. They're about the way we engage in the world, and the Knight is how we're moving in response to what brings us joy, what brings us inspiration, what brings us juice, right? Those things that you really, those places where you want to take a bite out of life. Well, okay, how are you doing that, right? So we talked about this as the day to dream and the day to do, and to make sure that you're absolutely blending your head and your heart. Really? Okay. Having that innate sense of action steps, right? These are action cards, right? The Knight of Wands is all about action. Yeah, I love this. Now what am I going to do with it? Make sure that you're taking notes on Friday. Everything that pops into your head, write it down, because you're not going to be able to come back to it, right? Wands are impulsive energy. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of power there, right? So just take notes. Honor yourself by taking those notes. You'll thank yourself later, right? On Saturday, we have the Sun and the 10 of Swords. Listen, this is clearly a choice point, right? So start stacking your dedication up to create your consequences, right? We're talking about devotion. Here's the deal. Every one of these swords that brings you into conflict is removable, right? It is removable. And the way to remove it is to remove it and allow it to be that place through which the light enters you in order to create something bigger, something more. And so if you're creating your reality, again, we're talking about devotion. We're talking about dedication to your doing, and your doing is always going to overshadow the thoughts in your head, your ideas, even your beliefs, right? Because the way that you create your reality in a skilled manner is to just do what you want again and again and again, and practice and understand that you're not failing. You're just gaining experience, right? You're gaining wisdom, you're gaining knowledge through practice. So if your brain is telling you one thing, let your body tell you something else, right? Let your actions speak for you and create your reality with your actions. Put your energy where your intention is today, right? And devote yourself to creation of your reality, not rumination of whatever has been or whatever was. On Sunday, we've got the Chariot and Temperance. So this is balanced forward motion, right? This week we've been talking a lot about devotion and dedication. And the Chariot just asks you to keep aligning and realigning, right? So those chariots, it's 2 horses. And so if you're not steering constantly with your energy and intention, what happens is you start to veer off your course, right? Temperance allows you to come back to that choice point. Temperance is the place where we choose to synthesize our knowledge and experience into wisdom. It's where we choose to blend love and logic, where we choose to be the fulcrum between our head and our heart, right? To be the altar between heaven and earth upon which all things manifest. So we're talking about staying ahead and alert to any kind of conflict of interest and not giving into any external sense that will override our internal sense, right? You have to balance what you know to be true externally with what you know to be true internally, because those are all your experience. You are the amplifier. You are the synthesizer. And so paying attention to your version is critical. It's key. It's the only way you're going to get where you want to go. So make sure that you're always coming back to your brightest and best. Look hard. Look. No kidding. So we're talking about really witnessing your own perspective this week. I love that we have the 11 card in the middle of November, but right after this 11/11, portal where we have all this energy available. And guess what? The fact is, as we're talking here, you are the portal. The energy is always available to you, through you, as you, for you. It doesn't matter. It's always about you. So don't forget to look hard, because all you're looking at is you. I'm really interested here in our oracle card this week. The curse, right? First of all of these cards are absolutely beautiful. Let's see what this has to say. Okay? The curse. The essence of this card refers to the limiting stories of our ancestors and the karma from former lifetimes that seemingly preordains the events of our lives. It's the source of negative patterns. It can show up as a disease, a destructive force, or a blockage on our creative energy. A curse can hold us hostage to a false story that we confuse with our reality. Recognizing the original wound that is playing out in our life can heal it, right? So this is about these ideas, right, that keep us stuck and what we're willing to walk away from so that we can move forward. The invitation of this card, it's time to recognize the source of your limitations. Did your grandparents live with a mindset of scarcity? Did you inherit genes for heart disease? Were you a slave or a master in a past life? This karmic legacy is ready and waiting to be seen, to be untangled, to be released. Honor the players and their stories. Forgive everyone and everything. Craft a new life course for yourself. The medicine. Beware of your actions. Act with impeccable intention so as not to create a debt or karma that sooner or later someone has to pay. What you do to others, you also do to yourself and to the people you love the most. Now you have the opportunity to clean it up. So again, we've talked about this in every single day of the week this week. This is about your dedication and your devotion to your purpose. You have nothing but an opportunity to bring this forward. Whether you choose to carry it as baggage and obligation, or whether you choose to carry it as joy and strength and opportunity, is up to you. Either answer comes in what you do every single day. We've got all these 8s up in here, right? Strength is the number 8 card. We have an 8 of Cups. We have an 8 of Pentacles. So wherever your infinity comes in, wherever your, let's call it your belief in your perpetual karmic cycle, wherever that stands for you, whether you're looking back or forward, remember, you're the key here. And your perspective is what's going to change that. So you carry as much baggage as you choose to pick up or as much as you choose to let down, right? You've got the 9 of Wands warning you. Make sure you're putting down what you don't need, right? So that you can get to that brilliant source of illumination, right? Your beliefs are your only curse. So choose wisely, my friends. Be blessed. don't forget that new moon, 20 Scorpio. We might do a whole reading on that. Anyway, be blessed, guys. Take care. Thanks for being here.